Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for staying tuned. And just before the break, we were talking about underground, your inspiration from the underground. Just tell me very briefly, and then I've got something else I want to show my viewers.
Yes, so I was saying that I took inspiration from the underground, so trains, public transports, tubes, and I've sort of created a collection. This was my previous collection that I had, and I sort of, collaborated with the underground.
It's amazing how you guys actually think and take something and make it into an idea, into fashion. That's amazing. But however, I just want to show my viewers one more clip about yourself, right?
Yes, sure.
And now, viewers, just have a look at this beautiful clip. I've just seen it earlier on, just during the break. I'll see you after the clip.
My passion for fashion actually started from developing myself as a young female. We would travel to Bangladesh at least twice a year so that we could go and take part in the cultural lifestyle. And for me, I fell in love with Bangladesh. I like to express myself through fashion. So me as a textile surface pattern designer, I am able to express a certain experience or an emotion through my paintings and drawings and then develop that into a fashion answer. For me, my inspiration is my father and also my mother, so we can't choose between the two. But I think my favourite part is actually seeing my work coming to life and seeing the models wearing my work. Initially, I love painting. It's just something that I love doing, but when everything comes together and you can see a vision, especially for a runway, I think that is just breathtaking.
Welcome back, viewers, and that was beautiful. I know that was quite nice. I really enjoyed watching that. But now I have something that I want to ask you, because I don't think all my viewers would understand. The fashion industry is so big. Obviously, there are few categories within the fashion industry, isn't there? Could you just tell us a bit more about the categories and what categories are you working in?
Yes, sure. So within the fashion industry, we have a few different categories. So there's obviously the luxury brands. Then you've got the high street retail brands, and then you have fast fashion. So for example, a fast fashion would be a brand such as Primark.
Okay.
So it's very instant, very quick, cheap and cheerful. So people are constantly buying and probably disposing fashion. You've got high street retailer brands, something like Zara. And then you have your luxury brands, which is something like Raf Simons, who's actually one of my favorite designers. Okay. And with my brand, so I done my research about fashion and about the different market sectors, and I research about Bangladeshi fashion and British fashion, and I sort of came out with a business model, and I focus on a luxury brand because it's niche and there's a gap in the market for
it's
that
the most
sector.
difficult area as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is very difficult. It takes a lot of time and effort and a lot of time to become
Brave.
more recognized. So for me, because I look at intricate details, I look at the prints, everything is very thought about, and it has a lot of detail. The quality of the materials, everything becomes more of a luxury brand. That's the image that I have selected, and that's my brand. It's a contemporary, because it's all focused on contemporary art, and it's a luxury brand with all the quality products.
Excellent. Now, what would you recommend someone to put into a portfolio? What would be your recommendation for that?
So studying at university, for me, I focused on prints. So if I'm recommending to a student, let's say if somebody is studying in the creative industry, I would say have a lot of raw materials. So I created probably over hundreds of different samples, because if you just stick to 5 samples, you're never going to come out with the best outcome. So for me, it's about, it might be a bit more, you know, a lot more effort, but I would say that you should try out sampling on larger fabrics, you know, create a raw portfolio with unique pieces of work, you know, do collage work, try different techniques, have photography, combine different, you know, different elements together, and try and be unique.
Thank you very much for that. It's good information for all the students out there who are watching us. Now, coming into what we're all about, business today, it's about business. Can I ask you about the business plan? You know, how did you create your business plan?
So it took me 2 years to create my business plan.
Wow, okay, so a lot of work went
Yes,
into effort to went into that, okay.
I researched about the different sectors, and you know, being a Bangladeshi woman, British Bangladeshi woman, I sort of wanted to combine that, as I was telling you earlier. So what I did was I researched about Bangladeshi fashion and the British fashion, and I seen there are designers out there such as even Kenzo, you know, the brand Kenzo, you know, it's a Japanese infused, you know, with the Western culture, it's combined and it's internationally recognized. So for me, I want to create a plan which sort of infuse Bangladeshi art and culture, and I want to make it more prominent in the international fashion industry because it hasn't been done before. And as a woman, you know, as a female designer, I wanted to sort of promote that. So, you know, doing my research about Bangladeshi art and designers out there, you know, BB Russell.
BB Russell,
so
yeah.
I done more research about BB Russell. You know, she is a Bangladeshi designer.
Yeah, I wanted to find out a bit more about her. BB Russell, is she a well-renowned, one of the well-renowned fashion designer? What's her background exactly? Sorry, about my ignorance, but
well, she is a Bangladeshi fashion designer. She's a very successful woman in the Bangladeshi fashion industry. However, internationally, she's recognized as an international model. She used to work for Vogue, you know, and she is recognized, but I feel as though her brand, so it's not on London Fashion Week as of yet. So there aren't actually any Bangladeshi designers that are on the catwalk runways in Paris, Milan, London Fashion Week. They're not there. So you know, my aim is to promote that onto the runway shows, because Bangladeshi people and British people, we are quite skilled, you know, we're very skilled actually. So my aim is
Bangladesh is one of the largest manufacturer of textile, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, the likes of Ralph Roller, Calvin Klein, a lot of people are using Bangladesh to produce their work.
Yes.
I mean, but we don't have a fashion designer, a
recognized,
fashion designer yet.
There's no recognized designers. You know, a lot of international brands use Bangladesh for manufacturing because of the labor cost and all of that. But the actual country itself doesn't have a large fashion industry where, you know, people are recognized, you know, worldwide. Bangladesh has a large fashion industry, but it's just within its boundaries. It hasn't sort of gone across to the worldwide platform. So my aim is to actually make it into the worldwide platform, you know, create a bridge between Britain and Bangladesh. You know, British fashion is world famous. So my aim is to sort of create that bridge, because Bangladesh has a lot of potential. There are a lot of designers in Bangladesh, but they're just not recognized in the international industry. So that's my whole aim.
There's a huge scope there for Bangladeshi fashion designers to come out there, you know, and I think it helps, doesn't it, because we are quite big in the textiles industry.
Yes, so, definitely. Bangladesh,
that's a big
there's universities in Bangladesh, you know, that focus on textiles and fashion. You know, there's a lot of designers, you know, they do you know, the Khadi fashion show event, they have all of that, but it's just not recognized within a wider platform. And that is my aim with my brand, is to sort of combine the, you know, contemporary art, the new generation sort of work with the traditional, and sort of combine that all together.
Okay. What would your advice be to someone who's trying to launch a fashion collection?
Okay. My advice would be
So quite a difficult one because you're already doing that. So share some of your
I could
secret.
say a lot. My advice would be branding. I think brand image is very important for a business, any type of business. It doesn't have to be within fashion. So I would say branding is very important. If you're going to put your brand out there to the world, you need to have a strong conceptual idea and you need to have amazing branding. For me, I focus on those little details because I'm a perfectionist. I like everything to be very clear cut, on edge, very, you know, contemporary, clean. So for me, I would recommend that to somebody that is, you know, wanting to launch a business or a fashion line. Research about how you can make your brand different from the rest of the brands that are out there. There are many brands out there, you know, recognized and non-recognized brands, but how are you going to stand separately from those brands? So I would recommend research about that. Yeah.
Talking about brand, you know, the fashion industry itself spends £500 billion a year into advertising, promoting brands. You know, that's a huge sum for an industry just on advertising.
Yes.
You know, it's amazing how big it is. I never realized. Okay. We've talked about, you've touched up on your family supporting you and everything. What advice would you give someone if they were to study in the School of Art?
My advice would be firstly to their family. You know, my family have always supported my mother, my father, you know, my whole family supported me to go into this subject, you know, because they had a, you know, an open mind towards any subject, any career path. I would recommend that as a Bangladeshi family, allow your child to go forward in the direction that they want to, you know, whether it's you know, in photography, in graphic design, in fashion design, textile. There's so many in the creative industry, but I do feel as though not many people support that industry as of yet. But I want them to sort of support them because there's a lot of potential in this industry. And another recommendation would be definitely go to university. If you want to study an art subject, go to university and get a degree, because when you go to university and study that, they sort of teach you what you need and the skills that you require to become a successful designer or to become, you know, a photographer or whatever you want to do, you know.
Well, I mean, okay, you know, I understand, you know, education is very important.
Yes.
But I just want you to elaborate a little bit more on why does a degree help in the design industry? I mean, you know, a lot of people might think, oh, I've got inspirational ideas, I've got creative ideas, you know, I can go in there and just do it. But why does that degree actually help?
I think a degree actually, a lot of people might disagree, but for me, I feel as though a degree really helps you, even if you're studying fashion. A degree gives you a routine. It allows you to understand how to sort of pursue different ideas. It sort of provides you of a guideline in a business plan. So it gives you a way to create a portfolio and to sort of practice your skills, but in a professional manner. For me, it really helped me because the skills that I received from school and from sixth form is completely different to after completing my master's. So I would definitely recommend a design degree if somebody wants to go into it.
And then you went on to doing your master's, and is that something, again, you know, by doing the master's, you know, you're enhancing your level of understanding about the fashion industry and the practice?
Yes.
So once they've done their master's, you know, what route should they take, you know, after that?
It depends. So just
what options do they have?
There's a lot of options. So studying a creative subject, for example, I studied fashion and textiles design for my bachelor's degree. You know, after studying that subject, I could go into surface pattern design, I could go into textiles interiors, I could go into textiles for print, for fashion, I could even go into fashion design. you can even go into fashion buying. So I don't think that there are any limitations when you study within a degree. It's about which direction you want to go, what are your strong points or skills.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. We're just going to, once again, stay tuned, please. We'll see you after the break.